Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Omar, and this is my presentation. If the British or the Europeans never came to the Americas, this is table of context. If you want to pause the video, you can go over this.
Yeah.
Section 1, Introduction to the topic. Colonization played a major role in shaping today's communities and how many modern ways, as well as how come USA is like a superpower of this time, and how come like other countries like China and Russia aren't doing anything about that. But I won't explain on that topic so much for now, because this is a topic about historical context and change, and some countries. European exploration. Between the 1400s and 1600s, European nations explored the Americans, Spain, France, and Britain competed for islands and countries all across the world. Like, for example, India, Pakistan, the Ottoman Empire in that time, they were constantly in war, and they were constantly trying to find new ways to get the better hand on them, so more resources. And so that would slowly lead them to find out North America and the Americans, which would also lead them down to Brazil and other countries on that line. So from there they gathered those materials and they gained more progress, and they bought a land.
Didn't come here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what led to today's nowadays. Why Britain colonized? Britain wanted access to resources like timber, fur. They also wanted land for settlements and exploration, and trade routes were important for economic growth for them. Jamestown was created for many profits and trade. New England colonies were founded for religious freedom, and which also led to the.
Led to what?
Those schools that I forgot the exact word for it, but they led to colonizing and like manipulating and torturing the younger First Nations, and which was named the Indian Act. Alternate scenario. If Britain never colonized, a power gap would appear. Other countries would, like France or Spain, could expand and further, and North American, and so would be divided differently. Languages and cultures would be changed.
Sorry, you're doing phenomenal. Just slow down a little bit. Very good. Continue, man.
Languages and cultures would be changed completely. This would affect the future of global history. Section 2.
There is no rush. I can sit my entire life here and listen to you. So, no rush at all. I have all the time for you. Okay?
Before Europeans arrived, indigenous people lived across North America. They had many organized structures with their own government. Each nation had unique traditions, cultures, languages, and they were also semi-advanced to their time. Even for them, they had a somewhat government like leaderships. There's different tribes that have different ways of government. I don't have the exact names of them right now in this one, but I think they come a little later. I forgot if I wrote it down or not. Political systems. Many indigenous groups had strong political systems. For example, the Haudenosaunee.
Sure, that group, yeah.
Yeah, that group. Confederacy had a council. Leaders made decisions through discussion and agreement. This system inflected democratic ideas later on. It showed advanced government before European contact.
What was the hierarchy of the political system based on? Well, like today we say anybody who can get votes can be on the top.
There's multiple tribes, but the one
structure was based on what?
Their structure was based on like elders, like
wisdom
and age, and they had discussions which they based their decisions on.
Yes.
Social structures. Okay. Social structures. Indigenous communities had strong social systems. Those families and clans played important roles in society. Trade networks connected to different nations.
Slow down, Umar.
People share responsibilities within communities. These systems supported stability and cooperation. More time to develop. Without British colonization, pressure would be reduced. Indigenous nations would have grown stronger over time. They could form larger alliances. This is for protection. Cultural traditions would last longer without disruption. Political systems may even become more advanced.
What do you mean by pressure will be reduced?
As in, like, you know how the Europeans were continuously buying out their land, which means and their hunting grounds. So instead of a lot of them dying, they would be able to survive and thrive, and maybe they would be able to come to the Europeans instead of the Europeans coming to them.
So more sustainability.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Continued colonization limitations. However, other Europeans would still arrive in North America. Spain and France were already expanding their territories. Colonization would still impact indigenous populations. Diseases and conflict would still cause damage. The outcome would be different, but not perfect. Britain's reduced section influence. Without colonies, Britain would lose important resources. Colonies provided raw materials and economic benefits. Without these benefits, they would also not be able to override some of the major superpowers of that time, like the Ottoman Empire and the Soviet Union. They would still be stuck in a loop between with the Ottoman Empire controlling trade routes and the Soviet Union watching over everyone else. Britain may not become a dominant empire, and its role in world history would be smaller and be minuscule.
Define smaller, sir.
Smaller as in, like, they wouldn't have much more power against countries in its area or around the world.
So local power, but not global.
Yeah, local power for them, and slowly this would lead to them crippling, and loss of resources would lead them to having almost closer to none. And their people might start dying because they wouldn't have enough firewood, they wouldn't have enough raw materials.
Lack of resource, yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, later on, the Black Plague will come and kill out millions of them, as well as the Spanish flu and much others. They slowly cripple and eventually die out, and it wouldn't be here as we know it today.
Okay.
Rise of France and Spain. France and Spain would likely gain more power. France already had strong control in Canada. Spain controlled large areas in the south. They could expand further into North America. This would shift global power towards these nations instead. So they would become the British instead of the British dominating them, and France and Spain wouldn't be as weak as they were nowadays. Balance of power changes. The United States power is more balanced. No single country dominates globally. Multiple nations compete for influence. This could lead to more conflicts. Global decisions may become more complex without USA or America. And this
Why?
why? Because US has a larger strength, is a lot stronger compared to these other nations with their advanced military technology compared to these other nations.
So I'm all for like one leader and everybody follows off of that. But so you're saying there will be a lot of smaller powers, so more argument?
Yeah, and it's more balanced and more globally, it would be more globally accepted. Because there wouldn't be one person choosing everything like how it is nowadays. But these other superpowers like China and Russia, they don't interfere much because they only want to mind their own business, and they don't want to have control of other nations. They want to be in for themselves and no one else.
This Straits of Hormuz, what we're seeing here right now.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
No U.S. superpower. Today, the U.S. is a global superpower. It leads in military strength and economic power. Without it, leadership shifts to other countries. Europe or Asia may become more dominant. The global system would look very different than it is nowadays. Is long-term global effects. These changes affect alliances, partnerships, trade agreements would be different worldwide. Conflicts may increase.
Give me one alliance such as.
Alliance, maybe the Ottoman Empire could have aligned with Spain, in for the some reasons. I'm not gonna go too far into that right now because I'm not exactly sure what you mean by trade alliances and stuff.
Okay, continue.
Section 4. U.S. economy. The U.S. has one of the largest economies today. Without it, global markets would shift. Europe or China might dominate instead. Economic growth may be slower overall. Well, this changes global wealth distribution and would also may lead to people such as the Chinese currency may become dominant. But most likely, the one that has the highest probability of dominating would either be the Ottoman Empire's currency, because they were the strongest, and they would definitely be alive today if it wasn't for the U.S. and
I love how you're jumping from then to what's happening today, and you're connecting them both. Okay, so I continue.
Okay, so the Ottoman Empire would most likely be alive. Some other countries, such as Germany, Soviet Union, would still probably be alive, and the Republic of China is still how it is a long time ago. Oh, and it's a lot stronger now. So from China, we can see what would happen if a country would survive for thousands of years would continue growing. Okay. And now China is how it is now, and it's one of the three superpowers of today. So imagine if the economically, yeah, and structural wise, and military power.
Next.
The Ottoman. Industrial growth changes. The U.S. helped lead industrialization. Mass production of made goods cheaper and faster. The Ford assembly line is a key example. Without this industry, it grows more slowly. Other countries may take longer to innovate. So how U.S. dominated and innovated and created fast food. But this is a good example of what happened, and factories and all this stuff, they didn't originate in the USA, but they were advanced and put more pressure on.
Acceleration was a lot faster here.
Yeah. And we have a lot more goods and stuff, and yeah, which would also stop.
Off-the-topic question: what do you think is the biggest reason for this unreal innovation and acceleration in this
material progress?
Material progress, but why would they progress?
Greed.
Nah, but okay, with greed, but greed also requires intellect, right? Mm-hmm. So why is it that that their innovation ideas of innovation are a lot more advanced than any other part of the world?
Because they don't think outside of the material realm, and they only plan on succeeding in this world because they don't have an idea or understanding of what's going on in the next life, and that this is just a test or a dream that's happening.
Why are they winning in this test or dream? That's what I'm saying.
They aren't winning. They're just getting the most pleasure out of this world as they can.
Okay, yeah, continue. I had a different answer, but you satisfied me intellectually. Wonderful. Continue.
Technology development. Many technologies were developed in the U.S. This includes the internet and major tech companies. Without the U.S. innovation, the U.S. innovation slows down faster. Fewer global tech leaders may exist. Technology may develop in different regions. Such as, for examples of this would be the LED lights. Though they weren't developed in the USA specifically, the blue LED, which was the one that is the most recent one that was invented, which allowed us to have these screens, and right here showing these images.
Yeah.
Without these three primary colors in light,
we'll have this.
We'll have just this.
You presented this.
Yeah.
Continue.
Trade shifts. Trade routes would be focused on Europe and Asia. North America would be less central. Different goods would dominate markets. Skipping and trade networks would change. Global trade partners would be very different. And as I said earlier, the Ottoman Empire would still be a major trade route because if the U.S. didn't interfere with this, they would still most likely be alive. And without the Europe having the materials that it had after the North American colonization, and the North America's colonizations, they wouldn't have much nowadays, and they would most likely be dead. Global economic impact.
You did
Overall,
already. Global economic impact.
did I?
Yes, you did. Just remember we talked about China before?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you did that.
Section 5. A population growth changes. British migration brought millions to America. Without it, population grows more slowly. Fewer large settlements are created. Communities remain smaller for longer. Population distribution would be different. There would be more people in the east than there are nowadays because a lot of them migrated to Canada and America with the American dream and all that stuff.
I'll cover that in the end because I love your background picture. We'll talk about it after in the end. Continue.
Okay, migration patterns. Different Europeans may dominate settlements. French and Spanish settlers increase influence. Cultural diversity changes across regions. Languages spoken would be different. Migration routes would shift globally. So more people would try to migrate, but it wouldn't develop as fast as it would have originally if it was in like somewhat in like this timeline.
Continue.
Environmental effects. Less industrial growth means less population early on. Natural environments may be preserved longer. Forests and wildlife remain less disturbed. However, other empires still impact the land. Environmental change still occurs over time. Urban development. Cities like New York will not exist. Urban areas would become smaller and fewer. Different cities may become important. Instead, urban growth would be slower overall, and cultural centers would shift location.
Do you like urban areas, Omar?
Hmm?
Do you like living in urban areas?
No, because they're more expensive.
Okay. Continue.
Long-term democratic impact.
Yes.
Demographic impact. Languages like Spanish or French may dominate. English may not be the main language. Cultural identities would be different. Population makeup changes over time. Societies would develop differently. Section 6. European conflicts in America. France and Spain may fight for land control. Competition for resources increases conflict. Wars could happen more often. In North America, territory boundaries would constantly change. This creates instability in the region, and with more conflicts going on with Spain and France, because British is not there to have more control over it, so it would be more split. Indigenous alliances and conflicts. Indigenous groups may form new alliances. Some may cooperate with European powers. Others may resist colonization more strongly. The conflicts between groups may increase. Power dynamics would change. Constantly shift. No American Revolution. The American Revolution would not happen. There would be no British colonies to rebel. Ideas of independence may spread differently. Other revolutions may take longer to occur. Global population change would be delayed.
Next. Omar, how much of it is still left?
Not a lot. There's like one section left, and each section has like 4 or 5 slides.
Okay, continue.
The U.S. played a major role in both world wars. Without it, wars may last longer. Different countries may win conflicts. Global alliances would change significantly. The world map after wars would look different, such as countries like Germany. That area, Germany. It would still be around. The Ottoman Empire would most likely still also be around, and Soviet Union will also be around. Ongoing global tensions. Without a strong superpower, power balance is unstable. More countries compete for power. Conflicts may be harder to control. Global cooperation may be weaker. This leads to ongoing tensions worldwide. Section 7, historical evidence. History shows those colonization shapes development, different empires created different systems. Spanish colonies, these differ from British ones. These partners, these patterns help predict alternate outcomes. Evidence supported major changes in the scenario. And comparing regions. Compare Canada, Latin America, and the US. Each developed differently based on colonizers. Language, economy, and government vary. This shows how colonization impacts societies. It supports the ultimate history idea. Key patterns. Colonization affects languages and culture. It also shapes government and economy. These effects last for centuries. These different colonizers create different systems. This pattern is clear in history. Big ideas. Small changes in history can have huge effects. One decision can change into global outcomes. The absence of Britain changes everything. This shows how connected history is. It helps us understand cause and effect. Final conclusion. Without Britain, the US would not exist. Global power would shift over to other nations. Culture, languages, and technology would change. The modern world would look very differently. This proves how important colonization
How would
was.
it look, Omar? Tell me in your own words with the modern world today.
Since America developed screens and internet, we wouldn't have all these things as it is nowadays. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that the red LED was invented in the U.S. Or Europe, so that wouldn't exist as well nowadays. Since Europe was more focused in war back then, they couldn't create the red LED, which means that these screens would not exist, and that would be probably the most affecting part of it, as well as the U.S.
Not
economy.
having a screen. Next.
That's it.
Actually, Omar, I have been thinking this whole time for the last 20 minutes. Please move. I am so inspired by the background that you have chosen.
I chose it because of the American dream.
This is showing the American dream. So the whole American dream with this nice, beautiful family, beautiful house, wouldn't have existed?
No.
Or would you have a different?
It would be like a different dream.
A different dream, right? Have you thought about that dream, or is that something that's still in progress?
No, I haven't thought.
Haven't thought about. Thank you very much, Umar Abu, everybody.